What's up, YouTube? Obviously this is a leather crafting YouTube channel or artist YouTube channel, but really anybody who provides any kind of service on social media, whether it's leather, any kind of art, any kind of craftsmanship, hell, even if you wanted to just become a regular social media influencer with a following, right? But because I'm a leather crafter, I'm going to talk about it in leather crafting terms, and then you can kind of translate this into your own kind of meaning behind all this type of stuff. I'm anticipating a high thumbs down ratio on this video, but it is what it is. So this person asks, any tips for beating bots and the algorithm? I'm failing at content lately and losing views. So what this question is saying in more simple terms basically is, it's the algorithm's fault my social media is not expanding. First thing I want to say is, A, I'm not the best leather crafter on the planet, and B, I'm not the most famous social media person on the planet or the largest leather crafting page of all times. I still do know to some degree what I'm doing. So I know people out there who have huge leather crafting businesses who don't really focus on social media. They go out and do the trade shows and make sales that way, and they kind of build their business away from social media. But if you're a person who's trying to build your business off the back of social media, now part of your business actually is the social media business. You might ask yourself, what is the social media business? The number one thing you have to understand, you are an artist in the sense that everything you do is art. And boil art down, what is art? Art is entertainment. So the only reason people partake in art is to entertain themselves or enjoy it or escape from reality. It's meant to take somebody's attention off of their busy life and put them in a place where they're enjoying their time. Art is an escape for people. So you have to understand that you are an artist and you are an entertainer. So there's a couple ways to go about doing this. You can, one, be so good that your art just speaks for itself and your work is so incredible that you don't even have to talk, you don't even have to be quote-unquote entertaining, because your work itself is so incredible that it is entertaining. A perfect example of a person who fits this description is D. Loftus, aka the Dusty Hide. Dustin Loftus, the guy who runs the Dusty Hide, he is an incredible artist, he is an incredible craftsman, but it's completely fair to say that there is nothing really entertaining about what he does other than his art. He doesn't write really long captions. He doesn't really even try and relate to his customers or his viewers. He doesn't really do anything other than just post crazy fucking art. Now granted, he posts like a good caption or tries to be relatable, or he'll film a video with a song that people like or something like that. But what it boils down to, and what you could base his social media success on, is 100% his abilities to create pieces of art and just incredible work. Now, another way you can garner social media following is just like my boy T-Bar, Trevor Barfus with T-Bar Leather. I love you, T-Bar, and we're boys and everything. T-Bar is an entertainer. T-Bar, with all due respect, isn't the craziest craftsman out there. He's a very sound crafter. His work isn't bad. I'm not sitting here saying that T-Bar sucks and people only like him because he's an entertainer. But let's face the facts. T-Bar, he's not even a full-time craftsman. T-Bar's been doing this for like 2 or 3 years or something. And this dude's got like 15,000 followers on Instagram. He's like basically the same as me, but just farther down the road because he's so entertaining. He is a highly likable individual. He's funny. He's just entertaining. I mean, like, here's one of his reels right here.
Genuine ostrich. 3 payments. Oh! Wait, what? I'm just goofing. New boot goofing. Oh!
So that's what I'm saying. Like, you don't necessarily even have to be the greatest crafter to garner attention, because at the end of the day, if you want the eyeballs from social media, you have to think of yourself as an entertainer. And it just depends on how you want to entertain people. You can be a strict artist, or you could be somewhat entertaining. The thing I struggle with the most is being like a T-Bar. I'm not, anybody who's been following me for a long time or watches my YouTube videos knows that I'm like a no nonsense, no bullshit person. And a lot of people think that like you can't joke around with me, which a lot of the times quite frankly you can't. Like, I'm not a very, I don't want to say I'm not a fun individual, but I don't have like charisma in the sense of I like to do things that make people happy. I'm a person who is very confident in my abilities and my beliefs, but I'm not afraid to speak the truth. And quite frankly, that rubs people the wrong way a lot. So where T-Bar might be able to be, and it's hard to say this without it sounding like negative, but there's something to be said about like a cheeseburger or like a party where, you know, going to a party, it might not be the best thing for you. It might not be great to get, you know, drunk all the time and do all this stuff, but people want to have an escape where things are lighthearted and just fun, you know what I mean? And that energy is infectious. And that's the thing I appreciate and respect the most about T-Bar, is that he is so charismatic. He's just we always make the joke because he's tall and skinny and I'm shorter and obviously wider, right? So I always just say he's the anti-me. He's got fun charisma and I have serious charisma. That's the second way that you can kind of find success on social media. Being a crafter, right? You know, with that stuff being said, you cannot blame the quote-unquote algorithm. You cannot blame bots. You can't blame the limited reach. You have to be super fucking honest with yourself and take a hard look at the mirror, and you gotta really assess who you are as a person who presents himself on the internet, because perception is reality, especially in social media. Is your work good enough or interesting enough to be up there with the likes of these types where the work is so crazy that your existence demands attention? Or are you actually entertaining enough to have people want to care and be entertained by what it is that you post? Like, if your work is middle of the road and your presence online is middle of the road, you don't really deserve upward trajectory, if that makes sense. Like, the biggest problem that people get when they get into business, especially an art related business, they think that just like consistency is the key, but you have to be consistently moving in a direction, whether that's improving your skills, improving your presence, whatever it might be, in order to actually get yourself down the road. Like, imagine I was just doing the most terrible work and I was consistent as all hell. I was doing the most terrible work for 20 years. Do you think that I deserve to be on an upwards trajectory? And that's the hard thing, is that a lot of people don't want to look at themselves and admit like, hey, I've been just doing shitty work, whether that's my social media presence or the quality of my work. You know, you can't blame the algorithm, because ultimately what the algorithm is the people. You have to understand that the algorithm doesn't pick and choose. Where people get this mixed up is like, you know, this person just keeps blowing up for no reason out of nowhere, and it's like, it's not that. It's like they came up with lightning in a bottle, whether it was a funny song, comedic delivery, the quality of the work, the quality of the video, whatever it was, and then it takes off and you go super viral. And then what happens is you get all these eyeballs and all this traction to your page, and then the algorithm will naturally start slanting you back down. But if you can strike again, for example, say you only have 100 people seeing your stuff and you get that lightning in a bottle, and next thing you know, you have 100,000 people looking at you. The algorithm will naturally traject you back down, because as time goes on, everybody's posting, so the algorithm has to push more content. But if you can strike again, let's say, you know, after a day, you know, you start getting like 50,000 profiles are seeing your stuff, and then you strike again, and then boom, it can strike back up. Maybe it's not as big of a pop, but you fling back up to like the 75 area, you know, and then it starts going back down, and then it gets back to 50 again, and then maybe you drop the ball, maybe you make a couple dud videos, and then next thing you know, you're back down to having the quote-unquote regular, you know, baseline of what your audience typically is. But that's where the social media magic happens, is when you start getting up here. Like, let's say you have, you know, 1,000 followers and 1,000 viewers, and then you get that crazy spike to 100,000. By the time you get back down from the 100,000, you're not going to be at that 1,000 viewer level anymore. You might be at 1,500 viewers or 1,500 followers or even 2,000 followers. And the thing is it's you could sit here and be a victim to the algorithm, or you can sit here and realize everybody else who does what you do on social media is playing the same fucking game. This would be like if you were like a professional swimmer or something, right? And you wanted to be a professional swimmer, but you didn't want to kick your legs. You only wanted to swim with your upper body. It's like, well, everybody's using all 4 limbs, whether you fucking like it or not. So if you decide to be a professional swimmer and then choose to not kick your legs while everybody else is kicking your legs, that's your fault. That's not the sport's fault. So you can complain and come in dead last every time and then just be mad and bitter and just complain about the game and hate the game or whatever. Or you could just start kicking your fucking legs and see the whole picture and see what the whole game is for what it actually is. You know, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm some social media guru who knows all the answers, who I'm like mad famous on the fucking internet, because I'm not. To some degree, I do exactly what I just said about the swimming analogy. Like I'm the fucking guy with the Grim Reaper and the cowboy hat. Like, to some people think that's cool as hell. And then, but if I step back and look at the Western world as a whole and all my potential customers, there's a lot of people who go, this guy's a fucking weird outsider who does skulls and like roses and like weird shit that I'm not into. It would be dumb for me to continue to do the roses and the skulls and be who I am, and then be upset at everybody else for not accepting me for who I am. I have to understand that by me being myself and me having the image and the style of art that I have, I'm going to lose customers automatically who just flat out don't like what I do. To sum it up, like, you got to take a hard fucking look at yourself and be super honest. Like, I know you might dedicate your entire life to your craft. I know you might try your fucking hardest. I know you might be working 15-hour days. I know you might miss birthdays and work on, you know, Christmas Eve and work on Thanksgiving and dedicate and blood, sweat, and tears to what you're doing. But if your work doesn't stand up in a side-by-side comparison to the incredible crafters out there, and you don't present it in an entertaining enough way, you cannot expect the same level of success. You just can't. You have to consider too is people only have so much time in their day, and they only have so much attention to give. You know, it is incredibly selfish and delusional to think that anybody owes you their time or attention. They don't care how hard you work. They don't care about how much blood, sweat, and tears you've sacrificed and put in, and the sleepless nights and all this shit. They don't care. It's not their obligation to care. So for you to like expect people to follow you just because you're trying really hard, you got to think about the average person who they follow on social media. Think about the average, you know, Instagram user. They're maybe following 500 accounts. So right off the bat, 250 of those are like family, friends, you know, a handful of accounts that they probably don't even realize they're following because those accounts haven't posted in forever. So boom, there's half. Now they only have 250 spots left. You know, 50 of those are just random celebrities. Another 50 of those are like their hobbies, like cats, funny videos, meme pages, whatever. And then now you're only left with like maybe 100 accounts. You're competing for people's attention, and you know, their attention is being pulled from meme accounts, you know, actors, their favorite musicians, political shit they might be following. Like, people only have so much bandwidth, so to think you're owed any portion of their bandwidth is completely selfish and delusional. Like, you need to understand that your followers and the people who support you through your career and your business, you are so fucking lucky to have them. You are so lucky to have them. I can't tell you how many of my people who have helped me along my career and purchased from me and helped build my business, like, it was all just from a random post they saw of mine, or somebody shared on their story. They clicked over to my page and they're like, oh, this dude's sick. And like, next thing you know, they've been customers for like 5-6 years, and they've spent like $4,000 or $5,000 with me, and I've had paid my bills for a couple months of my existence. So it's not the algorithm's fault. There's no bots. Nobody's out to get you. You're more than likely just not good enough at either your craft, the way you present your craft, or entertaining enough for people to want to spend their attention with you. Ultimately, this shit is, they've been saying it for a while, there is monetary currency and there is social currency. And social currency is time, because ultimately people's time and attention is what they call social currency. So you have to provide people value for them to want to spend their social currency with you, or in other words, their attention with you, which will then turn into hopefully spending their money with you. So I think that was pretty good. Too long of a video.